Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? It is Cairo back with another video. This is episode number 1 to my brand new series, RuneScape Top 10s. In this episode, we are going to be discussing the different locations around Gielinor that desperately need a graphical rework. It is no secret that RuneScape 3 has quite some beautiful graphics. If you roam around the world, you'll see some of these beautiful sites. For instance, Menethos, Ganefis, Darkmire, Ashdale, Anachronia, and the Ark, to name a few. And then there are locations like Karamja that look like absolute camel shit. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, these are my top 10 locations that desperately need a graphical rework. In the number 10 spot, we have the city of East and West Ardoin, which, in comparison to the rest of the cities and locations on this list, is not that bad. However, in comparison to more recent updates, for instance, Anachronia, Prifinas, Menethos, it is starting to become an eyesore. It is also unfortunate because to the north of Ardoin, there is the player-owned farm, which is graphically appealing. However, 2 steps south of that, and you get into this mess of a place that definitely needs a new lick of paint. In the number 9 spot, we have the city of Yanil, which in its heyday was the hub for open gilded altars. Unfortunately, those are now dead content. It also houses the Magic Guild, which was fairly useful back in the day. Not exactly sure as to why, but take my word for it. It is unfortunate now that it is a deserted area with super old house models and guard NPC models that are possibly bored out of their mind trying to leave this place. Given the fact that graphical reworks don't actually occur just like that, and usually there is some content that is tied to them, my suggestion for this place is revamp the Magic Guild and make it more useful and more in line with today's standards. In the number 8 spot, we have Camelot and Seers Village. Like the previous 2 locations, it is unfortunate that this specific location is not yet graphically reworked. I mean, look at those fountains. They look like upside down mushrooms. Or maybe fancy doorknobs? I don't know. They just need to be changed. Prior to the release of the Grand Exchange, the Seers Village Bank was actually a trading center back in the day. Like Rework West Bank, as well as the Falador Park, it was a busy and bustling area. It is, however, outdated, dingy, and God, look at those colors. South of Seers Village, you can find the Grand Ranging Guild, which, by the way, is useless, serves no purpose, and is a waste of space. You should just remove it. In the number 7 spot, we have possibly one of the most important cities in RuneScape, and that is Rework. So important, in fact, that this specific cinematic that I am using right now has been featured in so many different RuneScape videos just because of how iconic it is. Even though it is definitely a familiar location, it is unfortunate, however, that it is graphically unappealing. The only thing that is generally good looking about Rework is the Grand Exchange, and that's because it was graphically reworked probably 100 times. As mentioned before, the Rework West Bank was a trading hub back in the day, but unfortunately it is now dead, and the only thing going for it is this pretty nice looking blue rug. Imagine having to go through this immense game, fight incredible bosses, do amazing quests at gorgeous locations, all to end up at this dump trying to get a completion escape. In the number 6 spot, we have the Fremenic provinces. That includes Releka, Miscellanea, Etcetria, Natisnot, Jetizo, and the Lunar Isle. In comparison to the other Fremenic provinces, the Lunar Isle doesn't actually look that bad. But in comparison to the rest of the game, its graphical quality is not up to par. Given the fact that this area purely caters to the mid-level players, it is no longer revisited once you are done with the content that it provides. The content here are primarily quests, and it doesn't really make sense to graphically update an area that you're never going to actually use again. It would still make sense, however, to make use of the space instead of expanding the world. Therefore, graphically updating it and maybe extending that questline would make a little bit more sense here. In the number 5 spot, we have 70% of Mauritania. And what I mean by that is this. Pretty much any part of Mauritania that is not Ganefis, the Mausoleum, the Slayer Tower, or Darkmire, which essentially leaves us with Meerditch, Port Phasmatis, Berg de Rot, Morton, the Haunted Woods, and the Mauritania Swamp. All of which unfortunately share the one similarity with the Fremennik provinces in that most of the content found here is mid-level content. I guess another similarity would be the fact that they are graphically behind current times, which makes them in desperate need of a graphical update. Coming in at the 4th spot, we got the City of Dwarves, Keldagrim. Aside from the invention bench within the main building of Keldagrim, there's not much that you can possibly do around here. And I'm glad that's the fact because Keldagrim looks absolutely horrible. Given that it's underground with water flowing and mines and many different looking buildings, it definitely has the potential to look absolutely beautiful if it were to be graphically reworked. But for the time being, it looks pretty crap. And it is really unfortunate that it looks like this because the dwarf storyline is actually one of my favorites in RuneScape. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we've got Xanaris, which, I want to mention something, does actually look kinda nice in comparison to the rest of this list. So it goes without saying, this list is definitely not in order. And if I were to actually order this around, I'd probably put Xanaris at number 10 because graphically, it actually looks the best here. It did, however, make this list because it's probably one of the only places in RuneScape that still has the old tree models. If Xanaris were to ever get reworked graphically, I think it should have the same theme as the Lost Grove. I think it's just got those kind of vibes, and it would work very well here. At the number 2 spot, we've got the entire area of Feldip Hills as well as Ooglog. There's not much to say about this location, aside from the fact that it's just outdated, really old, the colors are not that great, and in comparison to the rest of the game, it just looks disappointing. And like Karamja, it has really horrible looking trees. The ground decorations look pretty odd and unbelievable, and the terrain is too flat, very one-dimensioned, not very appealing at all. And the Ogress NPCs look really out of shape. They're out of shape. The only area that is suitable to be in the number 1 spot would definitely be Karamja. Karamja, without a doubt, is the single biggest piece of land in RuneScape that looks like absolute dog shit. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't remember that beautiful looking ship in Port Sarim turning into this shoebox that floats. I guess I'm most upset about Karamja because I have such fond memories of this place. Fishing for lobsters, cooking them, running into the lesser demon area and fighting them in full rune and a rune scimitar, nearly dying, running away. Good times. But in the interest of keeping the game modern, something really needs to be done about these textures. If Karamja was reimagined as the Ark and had the same textures, the same buildings, the same look, maybe not entirely the same, maybe a little bit more unique, I think this place would be a lot more vibrant, a lot more inviting, and the music would make sense. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching episode number 1 for my new series, RuneScape Top 10s. Let me know what you liked, let me know what you disliked, and if you have any suggestions for future content, let me know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. What the hell is that noob doing? There you go. Get out of my shot, kid.